Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy, United People's TV here with another. Let's roll the sleeves up here. Morning news live show. I'm here to cover everything on goalkeepers, midfielders. We'll speak about Garnacho. We'll speak about United's new head of academy. We'll speak. There's plenty of news to run through. As always, please do get involved in the chat. It's going to be a good show. I think so, anyway. And remember, by the way, this is the last live show this week. I'm not here tomorrow or Friday. Shocking, really. It's disgusting behaviour. Going over to Ireland, see some family, and I'll be back here for the Monday morning live show. Now, let's see who's here from the mods and the members. Let's get on with today's show. And can I just say, look, we finally started. That's John's Andy Cole photo. They're 3 tickets. That's Anfield. That's St James's Park. And that is Birmingham at Old Trafford in 2011. So we've got stuff on the wall. We're finally getting started. Steph, good morning to you. Carl, good morning to you. Josh, you're there as well. Ant, you're there too. Good morning to the mods. We've got Real C, we've got Shane, we've got Mr. Men, we've got James, Walsh, Daz, you're there too. Teresa, good morning to you. Hope you're feeling better. El Nathan, Giggity. Plenty of new faces, plenty of regular faces. I know. It is disgusting. Can't believe I'm going away for 2 days. You can't get a staff these days. You really can't get a staff. But anyway, please do get involved in the show and let's get on with it. Fire it into the chat and I will try and answer as many as I possibly can. One sec. Some news is breaking that I definitely want to speak about before at the start of this show, right? Because it's pretty seismic news if you ask me. This has just been announced from The Athletic that Brent and the Overlap have been given UK broadcasting rights for Friday night fixtures in the Bundesliga. And I think the news is literally just breaking now. News broke on The Athletic, but I can see, the Overlap had just announced it a minute ago. So, first thing I want to say here, 2 things, right? Number one is, fair enough. Congratulations to him. This is quite a seismic moment, I think. Because, content creators just in general have been sort of laughed at, looked down upon compared to traditional media. Like, I'll say congratulations to him there. The reason I don't like what he does in terms of United is because it's entertainment. That is the core of what he does. He does it well, right? Clearly he does it well. But it's about entertainment. It's about making people laugh. It's about creating clips. And it works. Clearly it works because you've now got the Bundesliga coming in. But from a United perspective, I think it doesn't drive... The way I do content and the way I work, and I've committed my whole professional career to doing this, is not about entertainment. It's about informing. It's about covering the news accurately. It's about bringing people facts and hopefully telling United fans actually truly what's going on at any one time. So it's 2 different ways of approaching content. This one gets you far bigger numbers, far bigger audiences, and watch-alongs. You know how much I've always disliked watch-alongs, and I never will do one. But congratulations to him. I like to think that will have an actual positive effect in terms of how companies and broadcasters look towards content creators. So yeah, congratulations to him. I think it will have a ripple effect that actually positively affects us all. I just never will agree with the style of content. But fair play. It's pretty damn big news. Probably means he covers United a little bit less as well, maybe. So everyone comes across here? Maybe. I don't know. Look, I'll never agree with the style of content. It's why it frustrates me so much, but clearly it works. I think the proof's in the pudding right there. And it's an interesting one just overall because it means the Bundesliga is now, if you go down and you read what the actual rights are, it's this. So look, Friday night fixtures for the next 2 seasons will be shown live on the BBC. So on the iPlayer. So if you just want to watch a game on the iPlayer, they've shown it there. Overlap's got it. Brent's got it. So 20 live Friday night games in 2025, 26. So it's typically when it comes to broadcasters, well, selling the broadcasting rights, you pay for them. But it may well be that the Bundesliga is taking a different approach with these 20 games and then not offering, or maybe they would have paid for it. I don't know the ins and outs of it, right? But it's an interesting one because my ultimate dream, you know, the stuff I love doing the most. I love doing mini documentaries, deep dives, stuff that like belongs on your TV and you sit there for half an hour and you really, really enjoy it. That's ultimately my aim. I'd love to be able to include far more footage in that, far more stuff that I don't have the rights to. And I've said this before, but I'm hoping that the Premier League eventually follows the NBA model where creators are allowed. It's not as if we're trying to clickbait people into making them think that they're going to watch the game on our channel. It's no, but you can take the footage and take it further and make content off the back of it, which actually helps the Premier League rather than takes away from it. And I hope that happens over the next couple of years. And I think that quite a seismic moment that hopefully gets us towards that part where we all can use footage to help elevate the content that we're doing. Graham, saying, it's ironic Brent kicked off Roman Kemp getting a Friday night gig on Sky, suggesting he was Ross Kemp's son. He's still I don't know what that is, Graham, you're talking about there, mate. I'll be totally honest. No idea what you're talking about there. Right, anyway, let's get into the Today Show. Look, Glenn's saying, stop equating numbers with quality. Look, I fundamentally disagree with the way that he goes about things, and I always will. And that's why that divide will always be there. But clearly it appeals to a wider audience in probably in a way that I can't. Because I'm not here to sort of make you laugh. Nick is saying, when's the next game you're going to watch at Old Trafford? I don't know, mate, if I'm being totally honest. I've absolutely no idea. Right, what's going on? Right, let's get on with the United news. Right? Let's get on with the United news. And I want to start with some good news about Sekou Kone, right? Well, actually, bad news, but good news. So he's fractured his eye socket. He went off, had a big clash of heads against Tamworth. I think under 21s playing Tamworth. He was down for 20 minutes. The match got abandoned. Graham, I had no idea what you were talking about in that message, mate. I need people skills. Thanks very much, Graham. It's not like I do this every single day, speaking to thousands of different people in the chat every single day. But because I couldn't understand your comment, I need people skills. I appreciate it, man. Thanks very much for the feedback. So, Sekou Kone fractured his eye socket, but it could have been a lot worse. Actually, the club is suggesting that maybe in a few weeks, if he's comfortable and he can play in a mask, then Sekou Kone might be able to come back and play in a few weeks' time. Which, given the fact that he was down for 20 minutes and the game was abandoned, it feels like it could have been a lot worse than that. So, fingers crossed, we'll see him in a few weeks. All right? Who's that? Sheridan. Is that Sheridan? Is that Eric? I think it is Eric, man. But bloody, the usernames are all changed now. Thank you very much for gifting 20 memberships. Look, the community wall's up there. Jimmy, can I say a big thank you to everybody? Because we received over 200 responses so far to our survey, which basically asks you to help us improve the community. What is it that you think that we do right? What is it you think that we do wrong? What would you like to see more of? And over 200 of you have replied to that. So there's loads of data that we can take from it to hopefully bring a lot more to the community. So thank you all for that. Rex is saying, while you're right, Sam, it's clear from the growth of this channel that the United People's TV style of content has a large audience. Hey, look, if I get quite a lot of people who sort of reach out to me asking for advice on YouTube and what to do and what not to do. And like, if I was just to give one bit of advice to anybody listening, and sometimes, how do I phrase this? When it comes to starting your own YouTube channel, because a lot of people a lot of kids looking, it's a dream, man. I want to be a YouTuber. The best thing that I can explain to you is to know exactly what you want to do and you bloody stick to it. Like, don't bend because something's trending elsewhere and someone might be getting some traction. You think, well, if I do that, I'm probably gonna go on. You may well go up the ladder faster, but when you get there, you won't have created something that has longevity. I've always done United People's TV in the way that I've wanted to. I've never once done a watch along. I've never once done the typical sort of fan channel content. And it took me longer to get up to where we are now. But I tell you what, it is so much better now because there's no skeletons in my closet. There's nothing you can pull out. There's nothing you can do to me because I've always been this from the exact beginning. And I'm very, very happy and proud of myself that I was able to do that and continue doing that the whole way through. Everyone's got their own different paths. It's not to say that one is better than the other, but be you, right? Just in anything you do, not just with bloody YouTube, but just in anything you do. Stick to your principles and stick to your guns, because in the long term, you'll be very happy that you did. That's what I would say. And I can only speak about my own perspective on that sense. Interesting start to today's show, I suppose. Tony, good morning to you. Thank you very much, dude, as well, for gifting 5 memberships. I can't wait to properly... This is something that's going to be coming in probably, I reckon, the next 4 to 6 weeks or so. We're going to rework all the membership levels, rework all the perks, and make sure that actually people get more for their membership. Going to hopefully be reintroducing the United People's TV arms, little cheeky teaser there. Hopefully bringing in some more members-only content that I've always wanted to do, but it's just the management of it that I've always found difficult. Right, let's go. Let's get on with today's show. Right, Nate, I see one more thing here. One more thing, right? Again, this is what I'm saying about why this is a good thing. So Harrison, big up to Harrison. I've got a lot of time for him. What it does on the overlap breakdown. And there, as part of this package, which now brings the Bundesliga games to the overlap, he's going to be able to annotate match footage on the overlap breakdown. So typically right now, if you want to do any sort of tactical analysis on YouTube, you kind of have to use screenshots and then go through it. And it's just not the same. It's just not the same as watching and being able to annotate on actual match footage like you see on Monday Night Football. It's not because of a lack of knowledge or talent and being able to annotate it. It's a lack of ability to be able to do it. So that there is fantastic news. So congratulations to Harrison and to the overlap that they're going to be able to do that. And hopefully that has ripple effects and comes down towards channels like ours eventually. I'd love to be able to do more tactical analysis and bring it all up and annotate it properly. Just don't have the ability to do it. This is a step towards that. That's why I said, look, I might not like his style of content, but I can't deny that Brent's a trailblazer in that sense. Hopefully it positively affects us further down the line. Right. This has been a long start to today's show, right? It's not hot where I am right now, Celine. Thank you very much. You all see this yesterday? Man, this Alexander Isak story, like, where do you stand on it all now, right? For anybody who's missed it, last night was the PFA Team of the Year. Isak was in the Team of the Year. He wasn't at the awards. All the other players were, but he wasn't. And he released this statement. And, I mean, it's pretty much as far as you could go, isn't it? Promises were made. The club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging as misleading. Promises are broken. Trust is lost. The relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me. It's not even a transfer request. It's a bit more. That's like not just burning the bridges. That's just putting a nuke on them all. Now, the lesson here, surely, I mean, I think we've said this before on this channel. I can't remember who we were talking about. But, like, I think what's transpired is Isak has spoken to the club, probably something about a new contract, something about ambitions, blah, blah, blah. And it was somebody that he trusted. But he didn't get it down in a legal contract. So it doesn't matter. And then you've got Newcastle's response here. We're disappointed to have been alerted. Clear response. Want to keep our best players. This, by the looks of it, is broken promises from Newcastle and a naive player in accepting that and not getting it down in bloody paper. Like, it doesn't even matter the person you trust. And like, say you trust whoever it is. It could be any job you're doing. That you really trust them with everything. Yeah, they won't. And what happens if they leave? Wow, then it's everything. Everything's Gyökeres. There you go. Thank you very much. That's who we were talking about. It's like the second time we've heard that this summer. Like, agents, do your damn jobs properly. Get stuff in legal documents. It doesn't matter. Oh, he broke a promise. Yeah, but you said you weren't going to do that. Like, come on. Anyway, Isaac's playing some hell of a dangerous game there. You know what he wants? He wants Liverpool. And Newcastle won't sell unless it's a ridiculous amount of money. That money might not come in. And if it doesn't come in, what are they going to do with Isak now? Because he's made it abundantly clear that he doesn't want to play for them anymore. Right, Graham, you've cleared it up here. You're saying, given Brent this platform's undeserved, he creates low-budget content. He accused Sky of the same when they appointed Roman Kemp for their Friday night show. Is that clearer? I still don't know what you mean by Roman Kemp on a Friday night show. What Roman Kemp Friday night show? I've got no idea. Look, he clearly gets access to a younger audience in ways that traditional broadcasters can't. But that's why he's getting this access. Agents in 2025, 30-year-olds without a clue. Right, it's just a bit... it's odd. Anyway, it's quite fun to watch, I'll be honest. It couldn't happen to a nicer club. Let's be totally honest. Right? Let's be totally honest. Now, let's actually speak about United. That's actually the longest... I apologise? Nah, sod that. I wanted to talk about it. First 15 minutes of today's show before we get into the actual news around transfers. A little bit different. Right. Goalkeepers. I did my video yesterday, and I stand by what I said. I think if I was to choose one more signing between now and the end of the window, I would go for a goalkeeper. I would. I know we need a midfielder, but I just think there's more chance of me being surprised in the right way by our midfielders being better than they are this season compared to goalkeepers. I don't really have any faith in these goalkeepers. And that's why this is sort of like a head scratcher. Roman Kemp's been given a Friday night Premier League roundup show on Sky. It's literally the first I found out about it. I suppose it kind of shows how little I watch of Sky. I think that is pretty reflective. I can only be reflective of myself. I used to watch so much more Sky Sports. Used to always be there on Saturday afternoon watching Soccer Saturday. Just not as much anymore. Transfer news, I was always there. But anyway, this has come from Mike Keegan, saying there continues to be a lot of faith in Bayindr and Onana and Heaton, with United staff believing that various data metrics support that judgment. And I'm like, I don't really think I need data metrics to have an opinion on these goalkeepers. And I think that's... There is real value. Sorry, one sec. Forgot to turn notifications off. Goes down there. There is real value. Bloody hell. There we go. Real value in data. Okay? But also there's real value in the eye test. I've seen enough of Onana to have a very formed opinion on him. I've seen enough of Bayindr to, I suppose, has Bayindr been here one season less than Onana? I think so. Was he brought in last summer? I think he was. But I've also seen enough to know that I don't think he's going to be good enough to be United's first choice. So, I think this is a mistake from United. And I really do hope we get a goalkeeper. Someone down there saying I'd rather keep Bayindr and sell Onana. I don't think that's going to happen. I already sort of covered that in the video yesterday. I think Onana's injury pretty much ruled him out being sold this summer. Hasn't done anything. Hasn't kicked the ball for United since the Europa League final. So therefore, kind of hard to sell him. But moving on from goalkeepers, there isn't really too much of an update for me to bring you in terms of midfielders. Like Lucien Nguime, people were sort of hyping up about it yesterday. I think there was some reports coming out from Spain somewhere. I see there's some people down there in the chat. Oh, Camavinga news coming out. Camavinga news where, man? Like, some of you, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but some of you really need to understand, and that's kind of what I try and do my best here on this channel, understand what news is actually news and what is just bullshit. That you have, not all news is worthy of us having a conversation. There's so much news. I wonder what it is as a percentage. I'd say it's a majority of news, especially when it comes to transfers. You can just go, nah, ignore. I think people have asked me to do like a tier list before, but it's kind of, I suppose that would be an easy one to start with. I think there's a good one on Reddit, Red Devils. They normally have one. But just so much of it is just guff. What do you mean? Like, we're talking about 60, 70 mil bid for Camavinga. What? Where did that come from? Where? We're not going to do that. But anyway, Lucien Nguime, there was conversations about it yesterday in the Spanish press, but it's kind of, nothing really has accelerated on that. Douglas Luiz, we spoke about this. Could he be a good stopgap signing? I actually thought he would have been. But anyway, looks like he's going to be going to Forest. I don't know whether that's going to be on loan or a permanent deal. Not sure. Tariq saying De Gea was also shaky at first. Right, and that is some stretch to try and compare anything you've seen from Bayindr and Onana compared to what we saw with Dave. And De Gea was what? How old was De Gea when he joined? 21? And he came into a title-winning team. Anyway, nothing really on Douglas Luiz. And I've seen these whiffy rumours. Basically, what's happened is I think it was Adrien Rabiot and Jonathan Rowe had a punch-up in training. Either in training, I don't know whether it was training or in the game. At Marseille. Now both are getting booted out of the club. Was De Gea 20 when he joined? Can't remember exactly how it was. Anyway, Adrien Rabiot. When was it? Was it the Rabiot conversations were genuine? Was it 2 years ago? I think it was under Ten Hag. I think so. And then that was when his mum, Veronique, was coming out being the agent, and then there was just red flags everywhere, and we were talking about wages in the region of like 200, 250. Was that when he was leaving Juve? I think it was something like that. Anyway, Adrien Rabiot, that's going to go absolutely nowhere. You know what we should do, lads? We should spend a whole summer really focusing mainly on just re-energizing and bringing new life into the culture of this football club and probably getting rid of the players that don't really contribute to that. Sod that. Let's go and sign Adrien Rabiot. What do you mean he's just got kicked out of Marseille because he had a bust up and a punch up with a teammate? He won't do that at United. What was Adrien Rabiot? Good segue here, speaking about bad attitudes and the wrong people to have in and around the club. Let's speak about Garnacho. And I don't say this from an enjoyment perspective. I really don't. But United are definitely making an example of Garnacho. And that's something I wanted them to do at the start of the summer. And I'm glad they're doing it. But just an update on if you've missed what's being said on Garnacho. This is the latest from Fabrizio yesterday, saying that Chelsea are advancing in those talks with United for Garnacho. The deal's underway. Apparently there's an excellent relationship between Barada and Chelsea's hierarchy. I don't know. That bot beat there blew my mind. Garnacho only wants Chelsea and turned down an approach from Bayern Munich in the last 48 hours. I'm sitting there going, boy, that's like a once-in-a-lifetime offer, isn't it? Bayern Munich. I'm trying to think who's in their team. You got Elise. Musiala's out for a while, isn't he? Who plays on the left for them? Sane's left. You got Kane up front. Elise. Coman? Is he still there? Anyway, I've just found it a bit mad, the idea that he's just completely turned down any sort of approach from Bayern Munich for Chelsea. But anyway, that's clearly his mantra. He wants to play in the Premier League, and it's the only place he wants to. But this here is just... Luis Diaz, of course, they just signed Luis Diaz. All right, fair enough, yeah. So you got Luis Diaz, Diaz and Issa and Kane. That's pretty cool. This. I honestly had a little belly laugh when I saw this yesterday. Like 25 mil. It's genuinely laughable, man. It really, really is laughable. And I think the good thing about this Garnacho situation, let's leave that up on screen, actually. Coman's left. Okay, didn't know that. The good thing about this Garnacho situation is if you look at all the players that we want to sell this summer, right? You've got Sancho and Rashford. Well, we know what happened with Rashford. You've got Garnacho. You've got Anthony. You've got Højlund. You've got... Well, let's not speak about the others we wanted to sell. But we've been looking for cash for the majority of them. And when it comes to Sancho, like, we can't afford for him to be at the club anymore. I mean, we literally can, but man, we waste a lot of money. With Garnacho, we can make an example of him. Now, I've already covered earlier in this week, I think it was yesterday, he's not in the Argentina squad for the latest internationals. We can afford for him to stay in the shadows at our football club because I think he's on wages somewhere in the region of 50 to 100 mil. So this is what I mean about the club has the ability to use Garnacho as an example. Saying like, previously, like player power always won. Oh, don't worry, Garnacho. Don't worry, Anthony. Just wait until the end of the window. Just dig your heels in. United will crumble. You'll get what you want. Don't worry about it. Just ignore what they say. It's the 20th of August. They'll change their tune in 10 days. I've got you covered. I'm a good agent. It can't happen with Garnacho. This is the the compromise on Rashford was letting him go out on loan with an option. That was a compromise. We wanted cash. The compromise on Sancho, I think, might end up being that we have to subsidise part of his wages, so he's just not at the club. It strikes me as a grim reality, but I could see that being a compromise that United accepted. But a compromise on Garnacho isn't allowing him to go on loan anywhere, isn't accepting 25 mil from Chelsea. It's sitting him down and saying, we told you what the value was. We told your agent how much that value was. You didn't do anything to get Chelsea to match that. You will now train away from the first team for an entire season. You will not play a first team minute of football. And at the age that you are, 21, 22? You're going to miss an entire year of your career. You're going to miss a World Cup because you didn't listen to us. And I think the ripple effects of that are massive towards the cultural change of this football club. That's what I mean. I think United can afford to use Garnacho as that example. Someone down there saying ruin his World Cup chances for Chelsea. I mean, let's be totally honest. Even if he joined Chelsea, how many games do you think he's going to start in the Premier League this season? Be real. 15? He'd be lucky if he started half the games at Chelsea in the Premier League this season. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful dick way. They've just got so many damn players. There's hardly any Chelsea players. There's some that you can say, oh, they're going to start more than half the games. The rest you'll be like, Liam Delap, don't know how many games you're going to start. Don't think the manager's treatment of Garnacho affects his value. No, it doesn't. It's 50 mil. Like, I can't be bothered to run through all the names of transfers that have happened this summer that justify the 50 mil price tag. But United are absolutely correct in doing this. What's the cost-effective approach for Sancho, loan or contract termination? As I said, I think United could end up doing a subsidised loan. I could see that happening. Simply because Sancho's such a poisonous attitude that he can't be allowed to stay at Carrington. Garnacho would be the wrong attitude, yeah, but not poisonous in the same way that Sancho is. And also, we could afford to make that example with Garnacho. You can't afford to do that with the player who's on 200, 250 grand a week. Tony's saying he believes the hype around him. Mate, dude's a good player, man. But dude thinks he is a great player. I don't know, I keep calling him dude. It's just, as I said, I genuinely laughed out loud when I saw the idea that Chelsea were going to try and come in at 25 mil for that. It's just, it's ridiculous, all right? It's just ridiculous. So United should stand firm, hold, no loan offers accepted, no low bids accepted. This is our price. Pay it, or you're not moving. And then Garnacho's going to look back on that and go, "Whoa, might have made a mistake there, you know. Might have made a mistake." I wonder, do you think this has got anything to do with it? In terms of Chelsea trying to get rid of Nkunku before they bring Garnacho in? Although the Xavi Simons stuff, they're still going ahead with signing him. That's kind of delayed him, gone a bit quiet for now. Let me read some of your comments out on Garnacho. As soon as you let the world know they aren't wanted and have to train in the local park, everyone knows the score. I don't personally think that affects I suppose it can affect the value to a certain degree. A player who's your best player and is starting every week, of course, is going to have a higher demand. But Garnacho's just turned down an approach from Bayern Munich. It's not as if United are sat here going, "Oh, I hope we can sell Garnacho." And it's kind of what I thought at the start of summer. Of all the players that we could sell, I don't think we'll be too short of offers on Garnacho. I think we're shorter than I thought we would be. But the fact that Bayern Munich have come and tried to sign him and that Chelsea want to sign him is kind of indicative that I was right at the start of the window. We're not sitting there begging in a corner going, "Oh, please somebody come and try and sign Garnacho." Chelsea, you want him. You've got the money. Just pay it. Steve, I think you're kind of right with part of that comment there saying he's misread the room. I think he's just listening to agent advice. Man, agents must just be getting worse. Like the Gyökeres one was hilarious, really. I think agents think they have more power than they do. And especially at Manchester United. Because invariably they have had that power before. But this is the power shift that you're seeing with Garnacho. That's what I mean about making an example being made. There's a random comment there. Someone's saying, I was watching the start of the show and I was wondering, what's your problem with watch-alongs? Most match commentators are awful and watch-alongs mean I don't need to listen to them. I've never agreed. Well, I've never, not agreed with it. I've never understood. I don't ever want to watch. I want to watch a game of football. I cannot watch a game of football properly, absorb it, understand it, and do all of that if I'm also entertaining at the same time. It's just, I mean, you can't. You can't do both jobs properly. I don't think so anyway. Manny, you say, for me, it's not about the money. You're talking about Garnacho. It's about the cultural change. Get rid of him at any price is better than holding on to him. We need a clean slate urgently. See, that's where I disagree with you, Manny, man. I agree with your first point. It's not about the money. And it is about cultural change. But part of that is how Manchester United are viewed in the transfer market. If we let him go at any price, yeah, sure, that in the short term, that will give United the money that we need. But in the long term, that changes sweet FA next summer when we try and sell players and we get into the exact same problem again. At some point, there has to be a line in the sand that gets drawn. That's right now. Selling him at a lowball price doesn't help us in the long term. Even if it does help us in the short term. In the exact same way that United could go out and spend 50, 60, 70 million on a midfielder right now to help us in the short term. But then when Baleba's available next summer and we don't have enough money to sign Baleba, does that help us in the long term? Another example. De Jong, can't sign him. Who are we going to sign? Casemiro. Short term, fantastic for a season. Long term, we just spent 70 mil on a 30-year-old. That's why this Garnacho one, sod that. Do not go below the price that we are setting. 50 mil is that price. And Garnacho can train away from the first team, whatever he does. It's his choice. You really want to leave? Well, you make sure that Chelsea pay up, bro. Bro. What are you saying down here? People talk about Bruno. Bruno didn't have a good game against Arsenal. I love Bruno's risk-taking, but I hate Bruno's risk-taking towards his own box. He's got to develop that part of his game, man. Or maybe he never will at this age. It's like there's certain places where you don't have to do those risky passes. Certain places, just find a teammate. It's all about recycling possession when you're within 18 yards of your own goal, right? Our terms, not Garnacho's. That's the main thing. It's a really good point there. Really nice one to end it on from Loza. Yeah. Garnacho wants this all his own way. I want to join Chelsea. I want to join them at any price. Me. Give me what I want. Chelsea like, yeah, we agree. No. United first. Which is not something that many players have actually done at our club for a long ass time. Let's run through all the other transfer news and other news we've got. Napoli have made contact with United. We already covered this yesterday. Napoli made contact with United about a potential move for Højlund, but also they're going after Genk striker Arokade. Anyway, they're looking at different options. Right? They're looking at different options. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Højlund and Napoli actually happens. And this one's a little bit of a random bit of news. Xerxes. And this is coming from some Rick Elfrink. He writes for, who is it? Is it AD? Yeah. No, Eindhoven's Dagblad. Anyway, I remember interviewing Rick on this channel. And I think it was about Ibrahim Sangare. I think it was. When we were linked with getting a move for him. Anyway. He's an established and respected journalist based out in Eindhoven who covers PSV. He's kind of like their number one guy. A bit like Mike Verwijge for Voetbal International is your go-to guy for Ajax. Remember, geez, this is back in the old Ten Hag days. I remember these. Anyway, he's suggesting that PSV really, really want to come in for Xerxes, which is an interesting one. I don't particularly think that United have got any intention of letting Xerxes go, and nor should they. If you're looking at one position where we've got some quality, man, and we've actually got some strength in depth, it's those two number 10s. And arguably, I don't even think it's an argument, actually. The two most important positions for Ruben Amorim's system are the number 10s and the wing-backs. Wing-backs, I think we could do with more strength in depth. I think if Dorgu gets injured, I'm worried about that left-hand side. Diego Leon, yeah, he could be that guy this season, but it's his first season. I imagine this is where he's going to really settle in, not start too many games, be involved in match days, and just a bit like Sekou Kone's first season with the academy last season. Really was kept quiet on the DL for a long time. So if Dorgu gets injured, I'm worried about that left-hand side. If Ahmad gets injured, then Dalot's going to be playing there all season. And we know about the limitations of Dalot going forward. So I would say they're the most important positions in an Amorim system. And Xerxes, the number 10 roles. We've got Cunha and Mount, and Bumo and Xerxes. And you can put Bruno in that conversation. And Ahmad in that conversation. Who else could you put there? Probably a couple of others I'm forgetting about. But I don't want United to move Xerxes on. Did he light the Premier League up last season? No. Did he look better as the season went on? Yep. And someone banned Ant down there mentioning Mazraoui as a number 10. That was when we all knew it was over with Ten Hag. Even if part of you were thinking, you never know. Nah, right, he's playing Mazraoui as number 10. No, he doesn't give a toss anymore. He don't care. But Xerxes, I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do this season. He trained ahead of the Arsenal game. Does anyone know what injury Xerxes had? Because I can't actually remember. Quite a few of you have mentioned Cobby down there. I see Cobby as one of the number 8s rather than one of the number 10s. So I think Cobby and Bruno really is that number 8. That's your depth there. Oh yeah, Mazraoui's wing back. Okay, Mazraoui's wing back. I'll give you that. Yeah, what was the injury that Xerxes had? Because I don't think it was a mega one. Stevie saying it was calf, thigh, hamstring. Anyway, so a few of you are saying it was a muscular injury. So it's something to do with his leg. Either way, I'm looking forward to seeing Xerxes come back in. He definitely looks trimmer in pre-season. You could say that about so many United players. Clearly, they all, between the Europa League final and turning up for pre-season, they were training hard. Because everyone looks sharper. Everyone looks fitter. Anyway, I definitely wouldn't move Xerxes on. And this was just a bit of a random one. But PSV also made an offer to try and sign Harry Mass on a permanent deal, and United said hell no. Good. Harry Mass is definitely one of the players I want to see get a really good loan spell in the Championship. I want him to go to a promotion-chasing Championship team. I think Harry Mass is good enough from a technical perspective. Harry Mass is more than good enough for the Championship. It's about building up that, physicality, but also positional discipline that you can only, I think, really get through playing games. When to go forward, when to step back, understanding what's happening in games. You can do that to a certain degree when you're playing youth team football, but it's not the same as when you do it in a league like the Championship in front of 10, 20,000 fans, right? It's different. It is different. And I want him to learn that in the Championship. So fingers crossed. I agree with not sending him on a permanent deal. That's my point. Sam, did you forget we had a post-season tour? I remember covering those 2 games and I was like, it's pretty excruciating. That was bad, wasn't it? Let's not speak about last season. We'll all come out in cold sweats. Someone saying Amasa already went to West Brom. Toby Collier, I think, went to West Brom. Right. Some good news here. Well, some news we kind of been waiting for. If I can I ask you, can you please do subscribe to United People TV and get involved? Just get involved. We've got an announcement now from the club. Yeah, well, I say from the club, from the Athletic yesterday. Manchester United are going to be hiring Steve Torpey as the new head of academy to replace Nick Cox. And this is a big set of shoes to fill. Nick Cox has been head of academy for 6 years. And I think over the last 6 years, I know, the transformation our academy has gone through in the last 10. We've already covered this. We spoke about back when Nicky Butt was Nicky Butt head of academy? Yeah, Paul McGuinness, who was the under-21s manager. I remember Andy Mitten doing an article, quite a damning article on the condition of Manchester United's academy, about how City always swept up the local talent and we were just years behind. Over the last 10 years, it's just been progressively improved and improved and improved. To the point now where we won the treble with the under-18s, not last season, the season before. But Nick Cox is now joining Everton. And Steve Torpey's coming in. So Steve Torpey worked with Jason Wilcox at City's academy and is Brentford's current academy director. Now, Brentford had a B team model for a good while. So they've only in the last few years, I think, gone back towards having an academy model. But this is kind of Jason Wilcox. You want to call it building his Avengers team? I don't really know the right way to describe it. But Jason Wilcox, of course, if I remember correctly, was City's academy director at one point, and he worked with Steve Torpey there, right? Formerly at City. They worked together at City, Jason Wilcox and Steve Torpey. So what I'm going to do is we'll have a little mini doc covering Steve Torpey's appointment. We'll take a look at the work that he's done at City with Wilcox, the work that he's done at Brentford, any names that have come through. I think at City, he was at the club when I think Cole Palmer came through and Jason McAtee, I think. So it's It's an important appointment. It's a necessary appointment. I wish we didn't have to make it. I wish the Nick Cox would stay there. But he's sort of... What's his... Is Nick Cox director of football at Everton? Either way, he got promotion, that's for sure. Alan, man, thank you very much for gifting 20 memberships. Thank you to everybody who keeps doing it. I always find it almost a bit awkward at this point, because I feel like almost people are like, oh, you should be reacting more to that. But it's incredible. All of this is all look, you've all enabled me to bring in Jimmy as the head of a community. So everything you're bringing in, I'm putting back into the community to keep making it even bigger and better. You wait until we do the live show this year. It won't be a stand-up on stage. It's not my vibe, man. We're going to go to a pub. We're going to have a chat. We're going to watch the game, have a few beers, and it's going to be fun. How many ex-City employees are at United now? I don't know. If I'm being completely honest, you've got Barada, you've got Wilcox, you've got soon-to-be Steve Torpey, and that'll be our CEO, our football director, and head of academy. It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. When it comes to football, City have got it right over the last 10 years. Let's be completely honest. As frustrating as it is. And last little bit of news here. Gabriel Bianchetti looks like he might be going out on loan. League One, League Two. He's had a really good couple of seasons with the under-18s. I think Bianchetti is ready for a loan spell. I think that would be a good move for him. Don't actually know who our under-18 strikers are this year. Can't remember. Danny saying, well, Jimmy sometimes presents, you can go to the games. No, Jimmy's going to very much be in the background, just basically serving the community. In terms of me bringing in a co-host, that's still, it wasn't as important for me as bringing in Jimmy for the community. So I've done that first. And then across the season, as we continue to grow now, I've basically just invested in a lot of other people and a lot of other things for United People's TV before I've invested into finding a co-host to do this alongside me. That's going to be the most difficult person I find, and I'm going to be the most important, because I probably will burn out at some point. Not quite burnt out yet, and I definitely won't be burnt out this season. If I can survive last season, you're bloody damn right I'm going to be surviving this season. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in today. We've got, what's that? No. Andy saying, rather than a co-host, perhaps you need a match-going host. Yeah, that's a separate thing altogether, really. In terms of the match day coverage at the ground at Old Trafford, they don't do enough of that yet. Look, it's all part and parcel, and you can be a big part of this. Like, I love all your opinions, and you can help shape what United People's TV does. Okay, well, who's the next person we bring in then? Let's have a little discussion. You can give me your suggestions of what you think would work and that's what I mean. It's the community helping steer the direction of United People's TV this season. That's what I want. But yeah, the wall is started. Big up to John for sending that signed photo of Andy Cole. They're my 3 tickets that I found. Anfield, St James's Park, and then United against Birmingham in 2011. Random. So if you want to, I've pinned it in the chat. So the PO box is now open. I've had it bloody confirmed that it's open. I went in there, I walked around the local sorting office and spoke to the manager. It's now set up. So if you're from the UK and you want to send something in, you now can. If you're not from the UK, I need to speak to Jimmy about this. I need to find a way that I can do it so that if you're from abroad, you can send stuff in to go on the wall as well. And by the way, the wall goes round. You can only see one wall here, but it goes round. There's 3 walls. So there's lots of space, all right? Alan, thank you so much, dude, man. It really is generous, saying, enjoy your visit and a few pints of Guinness. I don't like Guinness. Shoot me! Hector, you're saying they're small, I can't see them? Well, dude, it's at the back of a massive studio. You're not going to have a zoomed-in camera on that. I'll take photos of it and put it on the Discord. I'm not going to ask everybody how many fantasy points they got because I had a crap week. Right. Thank you all for tuning in. Lunchtime video will be going out at lunchtime. Fun enough. As always, big up to all of you. Thank you.